Hi, welcome to Triple R Ministries. Today we will be introducing the book of Exodus, going from chapters 1 through 5, covering the topics of Israel suffering in Egypt. Moses is born, Moses flees to Midian, Moses at the burning bush, miraculous signs for Pharaoh, Moses goes to Egypt, and the first encounter with Pharaoh. Now, diving right in, when Exodus opens up, Joseph and all of his generation dies. And in the amount of time of 370 years, the Hebrews grow from 70 to 2.5 million. And Pharaoh mistreats the Hebrews in order that they would stop multiplying so fast, but they only multiplied faster once they were mistreated. And Pharaoh eventually gives the order that all of the male childs, if the males born to the Egyptians, I'm sorry, if the males are born to the Hebrews, to kill the male children, male babies, and let the daughters live. Exodus chapter 2. To the Levite family, a young beautiful male is born, and he's hid 3 months because they were killing all of the male children. And when they could no longer hide the child, the mother made a flotation device to put the child on. So and the mother set the child on the flotation device and set the flotation device on the river. At this point in time, the child's sister is standing off in the distance watching to see what happens. Now, the flotation device floats down into the presence of Pharaoh's daughter. When Pharaoh's daughter opened up the flotation device, she seen a child was in it, a beautiful boy, and he wept. And she had mercy on the child, knowing that he was a Hebrew. And so the beautiful child's sister walks up to Pharaoh's daughter and asks Pharaoh's daughter if she wanted her to go and find a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. Pharaoh's daughter agreed, and she went and brought the child's mother back. And Pharaoh's daughter tells the child's mother, not knowing it was the child's mother, to nurse the child, and she will pay her wages for nursing the child and bring the child back. So that's exactly what happened. When the child was brought back, Pharaoh's daughter named the child Moses because she drew him out of the water. Now, the Moses grows to be older now, and he goes out to view the affliction of his Hebrew brethren. Somehow or another, he knew he was Hebrew. So it came about when he noticed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, and Moses actually killed the Egyptian and hid the Egyptian in the sand. And Moses went home. Now Moses came out another day to observe the affliction of his Hebrew brethren, when he seen two Hebrews fighting each other. And Moses asked the one that did the wrong, "Why are you fighting with your brother?" And the Hebrew's like, "What, are you going to kill me like you killed the Egyptian?" And Moses says, this thing is obviously well known. And Moses feared for his life. Pharaoh heard what happened and sought to kill Moses. So Moses flees to the land of Midian. Moses is sitting at a well in the land of Midian, when the priests of Midian's daughters come to the well to water their father's flock. Now, while they're watering their father's flock, some shepherds came and to shoo the women away to use the well. And Moses stood up for the priest's daughters and let them finish doing what they were doing. So the priest of Midian's daughter, that was referred to as Reuel and also referred to as Jethro, I'll just call him Jethro. Jethro asked his daughters, "How'd you guys make it back so fast today?" And they explain to their father that the shepherds came to shoo them away as usual, but a man was at the well that helped them, and that's how they watered their flock so fast and made it home early. So the father Jethro asked his daughters, why didn't they ask the man to come back and eat, have some dinner with them or something for helping them? So they go back and get the man. And through the process of time, Moses was content to live with Jethro, and eventually marries his daughter Zipporah. Moses and Zipporah have a son that Moses named Goshen, because Moses was a stranger in a strange land. And at this point in time, the Pharaoh of Egypt dies, And the Hebrews cry out to God due to their hard bondage, and God remembers the covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to give them the land of Canaan forever as an everlasting possession. Exodus chapter 3. Moses is tending to his father Jethro's flock in the land of Horeb, near the mountain of God. Now the angel of the Lord appeared as a flame burning within the midst of a bush. And Moses looked and seen a bush that was burning but wasn't consumed. So Moses was curious and went to look and observe this thing that was happening. And at this point in time, the Lord called out to Moses from the midst of the bush, "Moses, Moses." Moses says, "Here I am." The voice says, "Stop, take off your shoes." And the voice introduces itself as God, the Father of Abraham, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And God told Moses that he came down to deliver the Hebrews from the hand of the Egyptians using Moses. And Moses is like, "Me? You're going to use me?" He's like, "Yes, you." And Moses asks who Moses should tell the Hebrews sent him. And God says, "I am who I am. Therefore tell them, I am sent you." All right. So God at this point in time explains to Moses how the whole thing will go down. From Pharaoh's disobedience to his hard heart, to all the great wonders God would do, to the Hebrews plundering the Egyptians, all the way to the Hebrews serving God at the mountain of God, worshiping God at the mountain of God, at Mount Horeb. All right. Exodus chapter 4. Moses is like, okay, what if these Hebrews don't believe me when I go and tell them that the Lord sent me to deliver them? And God tells Moses to throw his rod on the ground. He throws the rod on the ground, the rod turns into a snake. God tells Moses, grab the snake by the tail. Grabs the snake by the tail and it turns back into his rod. God tells Moses, take his hand, put it in his bosom, pluck it back out. His hand was white as snow, leprous. God tells Moses, put his hand back in his bosom and pluck it out again, and it was restored to normal. And God says, if they don't believe either of these, I want you to take something and pick some water up out of the river and pour it on the dry ground, and the water will turn to blood onto the dry ground. And Moses is like, God, don't send me. I'm slow in speech. I got speech problems and stuff like this. Just send somebody else. So God got angry with Moses and told Moses that he'll send his brother Aaron with him. Now, Moses goes to Jethro, his father-in-law, to get permission to leave. Jethro says, cool, he leaves. God tells Moses that Pharaoh has a hard heart and gives Moses a message to give to Pharaoh. God tells Moses to tell Pharaoh that the Hebrews are God's firstborn child and to let his firstborn child go so that they can serve him. And if Pharaoh refuses to let God's firstborn son go, then God will kill Pharaoh's firstborn son. That's the message God gave Moses to give to Pharaoh. All right. It came about on Moses' journey to Egypt, where Zipporah, Moses' wife, circumcises Goshen, Moses' son. All right. Next on this journey, Moses meets with Aaron, his biological brother. Whether this was their first time meeting, I don't know. And Moses tells Aaron all the things that God showed him and what is about to happen. And Aaron was content to be Moses' spokesperson. Now, Aaron and Moses come to the Hebrews. They show all the miraculous signs. The Hebrews believe and worship God because they're about to be delivered from their bondage. Exodus chapter 5. Moses and Aaron enter into the presence of Pharaoh. And they tell Pharaoh, thus says the Lord, let my people go so that they may worship me. And Pharaoh's like, who is the Lord? I don't know the Lord. Neither will I let the people go. Now leave, get back to work, Hebrews. And when they left, Pharaoh gives an order that all of the straw be taken away from the Hebrews so that the Hebrews have a harder time to make brick. But they're still required to make the same amount of brick that they were making before. All right. So the Hebrews were being beat, like make the same amount of brick that you were making before. Because Pharaoh was under the impression that the Hebrews had too much idle time, therefore they were coming up with, stuff that will keep them from their work. So the thing was, Pharaoh wanted to reduce their idle time. So the Hebrews are being beat. They come to Pharaoh and they're like, Pharaoh, why are you beating us, telling us to make these brick how we used to make the brick in the same quantity? We can't make it as fast because you took away the straw. And it's your fault that we can't make the bricks like we used to. And Pharaoh's like, no, it's your fault because you fools was idle. And y'all sitting up here coming to me talking about let me go to the desert to serve my God. But instead, I'm going to take away your idle time and you fools can make this brick. You spend more time making bricks so you don't come up with all of this nonsense type of thing. So the Hebrews are like, oh man. So they go to Moses like, Moses, it's your fault. God judged you for bringing this on us. Now the Egyptians want to kill us. We was cool before. Now they want to kill us. So Moses is like, he goes to God and is like, God, why'd you send me to these people and bring all this heartache on them? And you still ain't delivered them like you said you was. And pretty much that's how it concludes at Exodus chapter 5. In the next video, we will be going through a lot of the plagues that God inflicts on Pharaoh and the Egyptians to let his people go. Thanks for listening. God bless. Take care.